What up, though? What up with it, though?
Dude, shut up.
What?
I'm gonna record without you.
How?
I have Audacity on my laptop and I shall record.
Why?
Because you're acting rather embarrassing.
How?
What was that thing you just did?
What?
What up with it, though?
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 What is up with it, though?
No, what up with it, though?
No, dude, stop. It gets worse every time you say it.
I don't understand.
What are you even trying to ask me?
I'm asking you, what up with it, though?
I don't know. What is the though? I don't get the though.
What do you mean?
What? Who made that up? Tell me.
What up, though?
Like, why do people just say though after sentences now?
Why not?
Because though just means like, yeah, I did that, but I also did this though too.
Yeah, that's what it's like. It's like, what up, though? You know, like you're saying, like if you're in a conversation, you're like, hey, like, you know, you see someone you haven't saw in a while, and you're like, yo, it's whatever, and he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, okay, I'm about to go record a podcast, but what up with it, though? Like with that guy, you know?
So should I go up to my, let's say, like 70-year-old grandfather and say, hey, what up with it, though?
I mean, I don't see why not.
I see a lot of reasons why not.
Why?
But anyway.
Why would you not do? Well, I don't understand.
Because he would probably smack me in the face.
Why?
He would give me a firm smack. He would tell me I need to wise up. That's what he used to tell me if I listened to trash music when I was like 13.
Well, what do you mean when you were 13?
Like, I would listen to, like, if I was listening to the shitty music that was on the radio, he would be like, you better wise up.
Does he aware that you still listen to shitty music?
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, well, yeah, since I met you...
Your best music is the stuff that I've shown you and you've somehow taken into your own playlists.
What do you mean somehow take? What does that mean?
It means that you took my music and put it in your playlist.
No, dude, I just have, like, this chill mix on my, Spotify. It's called Chill Mix.
Okay, and
it's just...
I sort of seem to have a playlist on my Spotify called Chill Hip Hop Playlist, and it seems to have a very similar lineup of tracks.
Yeah, you've really come around on some of the good vibing music that I like, and I'm very happy that we can vibe to the same music.
You didn't even know about that music.
Do I know all about cunning linguistics?
No, you don't.
And I know all about Pool OD.
No, you don't.
And freaking Kid Cudi is the shit.
Kid Cudi.
Yes.
It's kind of weird because, like, I feel like I'm trapped in between, like, two sort of facets of hip hop. Like, I love old school hip hop a lot, like a lot. And I more or less don't like a lot of the new school stuff, but I do like some of it. And I think that, like, traditional hip hop heads don't like any of the new stuff, and like, you know, granted, there's always going to be artists that they like, but I'm saying, like, any of the popular stuff. And I think that, like, I'm sort of like a bridge to the old and new generation a little bit, because there is some of that new stuff that I really like. As you know, like, Juice WRLD is one of my favorite artists. But, like, most hip hop heads, like classic hip hop heads, would not like they just think it's garbage, like pure garbage. And I used to be like that too, where I didn't even want to give it a chance because it just I was like, this is not rap, you know what I mean? But as time went on and I met different people who did like it, and certain circumstances involved me listening to some of it, and I'm like, okay, it's just different. I was right, it isn't rap, it isn't like the rap that I grew up with, but at the same time it's something different and it is unique. And I think the start point for that, honestly, was Kid Cudi. I think that Kid Cudi was the revolutionary type of like that sort of emo rap or whatever, like the very vibey in your own head type of rap that you listen to Juice WRLD and you're like, okay, this is just like Kid Cudi's Man on the Moon expanded and stretched out through years of evolution of like rap, and
Yes.
So when I look back on Kid Cudi, the reasons that I fell in love with Man on the Moon in particular, I do like Kid Cudi in general, but it really is particularly that album for me. The reason that I love it so much is the way that it makes me feel and the way that I was feeling at the time when I first heard that album. And I hadn't had that feeling in a long time until I listened to Juice WRLD's what was that album called?
What is it called?
What was
Goodbye,
it called?
Good Riddance?
Goodbye.
I don't even know.
Yeah. Until I listened to that, and I was like, wow, man, this is like a very similar feeling that I got when I listened to Kid Cudi's album, and I realized that it's very similar in not necessarily straight up style, but it has a lot of the similar emotions that are, pumped into the record.
Yes.
So.
Yes, I would agree. Yes.
Oh, we should probably start the show. I thought we were actually doing the show.
I was wondering if you knew. I was just going to let you keep going, but I did not know if you knew.
Well, if I don't know, now I know. All right.
Yep.
So, let's get into it.
Yes.
Welcome back to His and Hers Movie Podcast. This is episode number 24, featuring a review of the Me Too drama film, I guess, called Tape. It is June 25th, 2020. I am one half of your host, JP, podcasting out of southwestern Pennsylvania, and joining me tonight, as always, from across the town of southwestern Pennsylvania that you're also in, but it's not necessarily right next to me, is Carly.
Yes, I am in the town of southwestern Pennsylvania.
Shut up.
Sorry.
You get what I meant.
Yes. Yes, we are back, episode 24. Very exciting. How are you doing tonight, my homie?
I am doing well. I had a very productive day, I would say. Finally got back in the gym a little bit, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Feels good. I feel like I got some sun, like, just not like tan or anything, but I just got some like vitamin D up in me from standing in the sun for a little bit, because normally I'm up at night, so I don't get to see a lot of sunlight. So it felt good. Like, I feel like it energized me. Then I went to the gym, went and did a little tiny bit of shopping that I needed to do, and came back home, and now we're recording. But yeah, this week has been actually a pretty decent week in my life. Lately, I've been in such a bad mood, and due to circumstances outside of my control, I've been just in a not the best mood, that this week actually seemed to, for the most part, minus like one incident, seemed to be kind of what I needed a little bit. So I'm very grateful for that happening. But man, dude, I was thinking this week, you know what I really hate?
What?
Like, really hate?
What's that?
People. I really hate them.
Yeah, me too, buddy.
Do you know why I hate them?
Why?
Take a guess.
They are entitled.
Yes.
Yes.
Good guess. I really cannot stand the human race sometimes. And here's why. So, I work in an industry where I deal with people. I'm pretty decent at it. I'm not the best. I've gotten better over the past like couple years. I've always been sort of a hothead and like willing to just like flip out over like the littlest things, especially when I was a teenager. I've since calmed down and matured, and I'm capable of, you know, being professional regardless of the situation, right? If it's my job to be professional, I won't really show emotion, and I'll just, you know, basically in a sense sort of bitch down to any sort of confrontation because that's my job, you know? Mm-hmm. So I am really good at not, you know, showcasing my true feelings towards the individual. But there was just a couple instances this week where I'm just like, man, I really hate people and I just want to let them know. Like, I want to just tell the person how I truly feel in that moment and punch them in the face.
Yeah.
And it's because, so like even something as little as this, right? So I'm counting money, change in particular, the worst kind of change, which is pennies. Pennies are the worst. It sucks counting pennies. One, they stink. Two, they just feel dirty. Like no matter what, unless they're those brand new shiny pennies, feel dirty. They just do. So I'm counting those, and you know, there's quite a lot of them. And you know, whenever you're counting, what's the worst thing for something to do is for people to talk to you while you're counting, because it throws you off. So I'm counting pennies. This person walks up to me and sees that I'm counting pennies, and I understand that it is my job to service them. But also, as a nice human being, if I walked up to somebody and I saw they were counting pennies, or any sort of change for that matter, I would just politely wait a couple seconds. I'm not going to take them forever to count a handful of, you know, change. So I would just, you know, be respectful. No, that can't happen with certain people because they only see what's, you know, ahead of them. They need to do what they need to do, and they don't consider others. So this guy walks up and he starts talking to me, like asking me some dumb question. I don't even remember what it was. It was something so stupid that it didn't even matter, that he could have just waited a couple seconds, like, where's the elevator or something. And I'm just like, man, I just want to like take the pennies that are in my hand and reach back and throw them in his face as hard as I can and be like, dude, what is your problem? Why are you not a nice human? Like, why do you feel so entitled to where you cannot even wait a second for somebody to finish counting before you interrupt them? Is it really that big a deal what you are doing? And I know it's not that big of a deal that I have to restart counting pennies, because it is my job, and I don't really have anything else to do. I can just count the pennies again. But at the same time, it's the principle of the situation where I'm just like, man, like, what is wrong with people? Why do you feel like you just are more important than anybody else's day or what they're doing? Like, why do you feel like you, like, it feels like, I understand you're paying for the service and stuff like that. But at the same time, if I were to do that, I would feel kind of dirty and cheap that I'm just like that I'm, you know, that I care that much about something, you know, 30 seconds, you know, it just drives me nuts, man. I hate people whenever they won't respect others, and just it's honestly, that situation was a buildup of other situations too, like over a long period of time of dealing with just self-centered, entitled people. And I just want to, you know, I would love to just be able to speak my mind to the person. And especially the second incident that happened that week, which was like this situation in which, like, this dude came up and had to wait like a couple minutes. He said 10 minutes. It was nowhere close to 10 minutes. It was more like 3 minutes. And he got like really mad about it. And he's like, you know, you need to be doing this instead of doing this. And I'm like, you know, in my own head, I'm just like, bro, I will fucking knock you out, bro. Like, seriously. Like, I wish you would ever speak to me like that in, like, not work, because you can't just talk to people like that, man. Like, I don't care if it's my job, dude. Be respectful to other human beings first. I don't know how these people work retail and stuff. Like, I would snap probably one day. And I always like fantasize of just being able like to walk in and see somebody treating someone else like that and just intervening as a, you know, bystander, because I want to, like, as your job, you can't do that, right? You can't say what you want or what's on your mind. But as a regular person, just also there for the same service as the guy that's being a cunt, I could intervene and be like, dude, what? Like, I just want to make someone feel so small, you know what I mean? Like, so much of a bitch that, like, I just point out, like, dude, like, and I've done that before in the checkout line where this dude was getting mad at this girl or something, and like this woman had like food stamp card, and he's like, figures, and I'm just like, dude, relax, you don't even know that person. Like, are you that in a rush to where you can't stand in line for a couple extra minutes? And he got all like crappy with me and stuff, and I was like, dude, just stop. And he like just felt really dumb, you know? I just want to make people feel dumb. Like, I want people to feel, to like look, take a look at themselves and be like, wow, you are a really bad person. Like, you don't, like, you're so self-entitled that you think that like the world revolves around you, and you think that like you deserve to go through the line fast because of because you have something to do or whatever, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that I've never got mad at how long a line takes, because I do all the time, but vocalizing it is just a dick move. It's not the cashier's fault. It's not the person using food stamps' fault that the machine won't read the card or whatever, you know what I mean? And that happened to us in reverse. Remember, like, I was using my sister's food stamp card and it wasn't working, and you know, I was like, somebody got crappy with us. But
I think the cashier was acting kind of crappy.
Yeah, the cashier was crappy. Like, don't even come at me twisted, because I work harder than you do, and I've worked harder jobs than you standing behind this machine here. Don't get all twisted at me, lady. And you know, everybody that's using one of those cards aren't bums either. You know what I mean? There's people who just have lost their job, or, you know, in my sister's case, is a bomb. I'm just kidding. Okay. But no, you know, like me, I'm just using it for her, you know, going to pick something up for her. But, you know, so like, it ain't even my card. I'm not the one.
You're just not the one. I'm
not the one, you know? So I really hate people, and I really want to tell them how much I hate them sometimes. And I just want so much to be like, dude, I will punch you in the face. Like, I'm gonna fight you, dude. Like, watch your mouth. You know?
Yes.
Like, because I feel like, and especially when they're like 40 something, you know what I mean? And they're just like, look like a douchebag. Like, they just look like they probably, you know, are well off. Probably well off. Yeah,
I can paint a mental picture in my head of like a guy in a suit who's like tall, kind of old looking, but not really. Gray hair, short hair. Like, I can actually paint a picture of
pretty close to this guy. You know,
and his name's probably like Frank or something.
He wasn't in a suit, but he had like he was like sort of had very thin balding hair on the top, and it was graying. And he was actually kind of skinny and tall, but I would have laid this dude out so quick. Like, I'm not even playing, man. And I just want to be like, dude, you realize who you're talking to, man? Like, you realize that you're coming at me twisted a little bit here. Like, I feel like you need put in check. Like, I feel like nobody's probably punched you in the mouth for being an asshole, and you probably need that in life to learn a little bit, you know, to be humbled a little bit, and to learn that the world does not completely revolve around you and your money. And, you know, I just want to do that sometimes. Like, I feel like if I could have a perfect, like, dream job, it would be like some kind of superhero of the victims of entitled people. Like, I just want to go around and like put people in their place. And like, you know what's crazy too, man? All these people who are like, I've never saw someone who acted like that could beat me up. Like, generally people that act like that are like losers. Like, they look like bitches. You know what I mean? Like big muscular dudes are usually the coolest. Like, they're just chill guys. You know what I mean? And you know, athletes are usually cool. It's these like little bitch ass nerds who grew up to be like, you know, make decent money and have a chip on their shoulder because they were a virgin all through high school or something and had no friends. Like, I don't know, man. They just look like lame ass dudes most of the time.
Yeah, and it's a good point. You say, oh, they probably never got knocked out in life. And it's true. These people that have a lot of money and they're lame looking and virgin looking and all the stuff you just said, they never did get knocked out in life because everyone just talks about them behind their backs or says like, man, that guy's known to be a douchebag, but they never go up to them and say it to their face. I feel like that's what I've experienced with all these rich people. It's like everyone's afraid they're gonna get sued or they're gonna look bad for like standing up to that one entitled idiot.
Yeah,
but
like
we are
this guy
all
looks
human.
at me like looks down on me or something.
Yeah.
Like he thinks that like he's the master of this situation, which in a way he is, because it is my job to service him. But at the same time, there's a point and a threshold where it goes beyond work relationship and goes into sort of this human interaction that's very personal. And when it goes to there, like, that's where I get really mad. And I'm like, dude, you're not going to disrespect me to that level. You might I might let some disrespect go by, you know what I mean? Because it is my job and it's what I'm supposed to do and stuff. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to, like, you know, you're actually insulting me, like, and looking, like, saying it as I'm, like, less than you, I have a problem with that, you know? And I don't know, one day I may snap. You know what I mean? I got a little bit more ballsy with that dude and just like kind of, I normally never do this. Like I never like sort of give an attitude or anything. And I didn't this time, but I did like kind of put him in check a little bit with what I told him I was the reason why I wasn't there. And he like apologized and stuff, but I didn't feel genuine that much. But either way, man, I don't like people sometimes. I really don't. For the most part, my interactions are good. Like I was saying, there's this dude is like super big and you know, wears like muscle shirts everywhere and stuff like that. And he's been staying for a while and he's cool, man. He's like the coolest dude. He's always like super nice and like he comes and like needs stuff too, like waters and different things. And he's just real dope. Like I like that dude a lot. He's super cool. And there's been other people that are super cool too. And not everybody with money is a douchebag either. Like, yeah. And I'm just assuming that this guy has money. Like there was a dude in there who was driving a Ferrari and he's like really cool too. You know what I mean? So it's more of like how you're raised or like it's just I don't know, there's a lot of things that factor into it. But if you're one of those guys out there, if you're one of those people who walk up to somebody while they're counting change and like expect to be serviced right then and there because and it is their job and they're supposed to do that, they're supposed to drop what they're doing and service you, but common courtesy, dude, don't do it. If you are one of those people, you are a douchebag. Like F you, dude. I don't like you. I don't even want you to listen to the show.
Yes, word. And yes, I treat everybody with respect. Whenever I go up to somebody who's working, I want them to be nice to me. So I always will be nice to them and pleasant with them. Oh, yeah, that reminded
me. Wasn't there some old, like, stupid lady who was, like, mad at us for being in the 15 items or less line that had, like...
I don't want to talk about it.
17 items or something?
Yes.
What did she say?
She said, she named the amount of items you had in your buggy. She was like, you have this many items in your buggy. And you were like, okay, sorry. Then she said something else smart. And then I had to check her. And then that was a horrible day.
Like, I said sorry. I was like, yeah, I'm sorry. I remember what it was now. I had it. The Walmart that's where I'm at is a 15 items or less line. The one where we were was a 10 items or less. So I had 15, assuming that it was like the same everywhere. I didn't even notice I'm in line, and I look up and I'm like, oh, yeah, oops. And yeah, but still it was only like 5 more items. And yeah, screw that lady, because it was unnecessary, especially after I apologized. And I was genuine about it. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that this was a 10 items or less. And she's like still like grumbling. And I'm like, okay, lady, relax. Okay, it's not that big a deal.
Yes. and then I came at her, and then we left.
Yeah.
That sucked. But so besides that, you had a pretty swell week, I suppose. Sounds like.
Yeah, it was funny because like I sent you that meme. It was like it reminded me of like sort of you, but like it reminded me of me, but not with driving that much because I don't really have road rage. But what did the meme say?
It said, "Unless you have time to pull over and fight, don't honk your horn at me."
Right.
Yeah, that's actually me. That's like 100% me in the car. I hate it. Like, I actually almost did that once. That's why it was so funny to me. And it was my mom who was driving, and some guy wrongfully beeped his horn at her because she was actually in the right. And then, like, I was flipping him off, and he stood out of his car and was like, "You want to say something?" And then I was like screaming stuff at him, and then he just like got back in his car, and my mom's like, "No, stop!" And then my mom drove away, and I was scared, and I was like, "I'm so sorry I said the F word in front of you, mommy."
You know that scene in Fight Club where it said like it's like people will avoid a fight at like all costs, and that dude's like squirting the guy walking down the road with a hose, and like the dude like won't fight him.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty true because I've had like many instances where like there was some dude, I forget, it happened earlier this year, but we were driving in the same parking lot, and like the dude like threw his hands up because like I don't even know, it was my go or something. Like I was totally in the right, and I stopped just square, and I was like, "What's up, dude?" I had my window down, and he's like he just like drives away and stuff, and I'm like, "Yeah, that's what I thought." Now I'm not acting like a hard ass to where I would do that to somebody that could beat me up. I'm never doing that to someone that could beat me up. But anybody who I think would be an even match or that I would beat up, like, if you're starting it, bro, let's do it. You know what I mean? So that's how, like, I'm not going to do that to like some like 7-foot like bodybuilder. You know what I mean? He'd murder me. But seriously, genuinely, the people that are like that size are pretty nice. Like I've never really had a situation where somebody was like aggressive and a douche to me, and they were also like a lot bigger and could beat me up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, I don't like to fight, but I will like fight you straight up. Like I will fight you if you're being a cunt. So, yeah, if you don't have time to get out and fight me, then don't throw your hands up at me, bro. Because I will fight you in the middle of a gas station parking lot if you're coming at me twisted and you're appropriately my size.
I think most people just think to themselves, "Yeah, I don't really feel like going to jail or getting my ass kicked," and that's why they all back down.
Well, I mean, I don't ever feel like I'm actually gonna go to jail because I'm just gonna say that the guy hit me first. I was defending myself.
Yeah, but can't he say that about you?
Probably.
So then it would just be your word against his.
I mean, I don't know. Like I'm not gonna fight someone who doesn't want to fight me. Like if they're running away, I'm gonna just let them go. You know what I mean? But if somebody's like gonna get out and like we're gonna like walk up to each other, like I'm throwing the first punch, bro. Like I've learned, if there's one thing I learned in my life, it's don't let someone else hit you first, because every single time I've ever let someone hit me first, I've like lost the fight. So I'm throwing the first punch, and I'm throwing it hard.
All right, well, I hope the cops don't listen to this podcast if you ever are in a fight, because then they will know you just lied a few seconds ago.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, people be crazy. What can I say? I've never fought anybody, and honestly, everybody probably could fight and kill me, but I'm the opposite of you. I just start flipping out on anybody of all sizes and just hope they don't, so... because it's an instinct, but yes.
I feel like I'm getting to the age where I'm too old to like actually fight somebody anymore. So like, probably not like, because like the last fight I was in, I was like 25. That was like maybe 24 or 23. I don't even remember.
I met you when you were 24. So
okay, so it was probably a year before that then.
Yeah.
23. I was working at where we worked together.
Yeah.
So when it happened, but it was before I met you. But yeah, I mean, you know, not opposed to fighting, but I really don't like to.
Yeah, I'd rather not.
Shit's scary, man.
Yeah.
Like, I think most people are scared to fight. Like, I'm not saying I'm not scared to do it. I'm just saying I will do it.
Yeah, I'm not trying to fight anybody, really.
Yeah. Fights.
Yes.
But yeah, like, that was my kind of week. Like, I was just thinking about that for a while, and I was like, I'm going to bring that up on the show, because I really hate people when they act like this, and I want to vent. So, your turn.
All right. What shall I complain about? No. My week was decent as well, honestly, for the most part. I mean, it was kind of tiring, but... Father's Day, I went over to the fam and hung out with my grandfather's, and we've been doing that a lot, where we all get it together over there and just, like, chill in the sun, which is kind of bullcrap. I've been outside quite a bit, and no sun has really affected my body yet. What?
Are you still white?
Yes, I am still white. I think it's like I don't really get tan unless I'm in a pool for a long time in a bathing suit, which I have not gotten to do yet this summer, unfortunately. So that kind of sucks, but whatever. I've never been one of those girls who feels the need to be tan her entire lifetime throughout every season, so it doesn't really matter to me. But so there was that, and then on Tuesday, Wang Night Tuesday night, that's always good. That is always successful.
I do like some Wang Night.
Yeah, those are pretty darn good. Then the next day, which was yesterday, I tried out a new mini golf course with my friend Kaylee.
Screw you.
I'm sorry. And I've never taken JP mini golfing, and
I've
I would like
never
to public.
You mini golfing.
What is that supposed to mean, that you are the one in charge?
Yes.
Oh, well, okay. We've never been mini golfing together, is what I'm trying to say. It is quite sad, but one day it will happen. But yeah, this golf course was all right. It's hard. Well, it's not explaining. It's just weird. It's like had 3 layers. It was downhill, but then the golf course like went uphill. So it was like the first 8 holes or so were on the ground level, and then you went up some steps to get to the next however many, and then you went up steps again to get to the next however many up there, and then it ended back down on the first layer. But the thing was, it was one of those ones that had like that pond with the blue water where, if you hit your ball in it, you could just fish it out with a net. No biggie. But I think they tried to put up barriers to keep it so it would all stay on whatever stage you were on. But the barriers were not that good, and I hit my ball into the water, and it went all the way down the waterfall back to the bottom, and it was very inconvenient because you had to walk all the way back down, fish it out, and I got a lot of exercise, and I'm mad. Because I was not in the running for exercise. I just wanted the mini golf. Also, the course was kind of hard because I think it had to do with the fact that it was like set up on a hill. Actually, it seemed like it wasn't the best setup, and I'm pretty sure the course is kind of newer. They also sold ice cream there, but I didn't get that. But it was still a fun time. I like mini golfing, and I like exploring new mini golf courses. So that is my story that I'm sticking to.
Sweet. So anything else?
Did I do anything else? What did I do else? Oh, today I went shopping at good old Walmart, and shopping at Walmart is annoying because, for one thing, I hate shopping. Another thing, you buy $50 worth of food and you have pretty much no food.
It's true.
Actually, like, I wanted to only buy $50 worth of food, then I got to the end of my $50 limit because I always calculate. Well, sometimes I calculate, sometimes I don't, depending on how much money I have. And in this occasion, I didn't have that much money, so I was like, I'm gonna just write down what I'm buying on a calculator and then see what happens. And by the end, I was like, this is not a lot of food, so I went up to $60 and got a few more things. And I also bought drinks, too, so it's like, if you factor in drinks, you're just kind of screwed. It's like my buggy only had like pot pies in it seemed like by the end, and Gatorade. So it's depressing. I hate shopping. I want to try that Walmart, or I think other stores do too, that pickup stuff. See if that helps me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The pickup order, because I feel like that might be convenient. I don't know. My Someone was telling my coworkers do that sometimes, and they say it helps them save money and organize what they're getting. So I might try that one day. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my exciting over the top life. So
Gotcha.
yes.
Cool. So let's get in. Oh, well, one thing. Just a reminder, we are still doing our blind spots segment starting next show with your pick was what? Your random thing was Speed, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. I've actually already watched that.
Oh.
But I'll save my, because I'm not gonna watch everyone that you get, but if I have time, I'm gonna check. Like I said, I've seen every one that you've done, but that you have, and you've seen every one that I have, so we could kind of talk about it a little bit off of memory. But if I have time, I'm gonna watch it, because I gave you all films that I like.
Yes.
And yeah, so that will be fun. I've actually been brainstorming on other things that we could do, which, you know, we'll maybe have you guys vote on it, or like we'll get your feedback on, you know, these are going to be 6-month sort of seasons, if you will. So this first one will run from July to December, and then we'll do another one like January going forward. But I think that got some cool ideas. I was telling you about some of them, like maybe a ABC's one where we each pick a film from the alphabet.
Yeah, I like that idea. I've always liked that concept.
Yeah, and go back and forth. And there's like, you know, half a year is 26 weeks, so it kind of works out.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, so be on the lookout for that next show. I'm pretty excited about that. That should be fun. But yeah, let's get into what we watched over the past week.
Sounds good. Who shall go first?
What was the last thing that I talked about? I'll go first.
I don't know. Hold on. You talked about Puppet Master 2 from 1990.
Seriously?
Yes.
That was that long ago?
I shat you not. Yeah, dude, I think we did kind of record like a while ago, so.
Puppet Master 2 from 1990.
That's what I have written down, yes.
Jeez, okay.
But you sounded so sad.
The very next thing that I watched... Oh, so we recorded like 10 days ago.
Yeah, because we kind of like... Our posting was a little off, so we like... Yeah, we're a little off.
Well, the first thing that I watched after Puppet Master 2, I guess, is Puppet Master 3, Toulon's Revenge from 1991 as part of my run through 91. And it basically is set in World War II. This one is a prequel to the first two films. And it follows Andre Toulon in Nazi... I don't know where they're at. Maybe Germany? I don't know where they're at. I actually forget. And, you know, he has the secret of the puppets, and the Nazis want the secret to aid in the war, in their, you know, fighting of the war. So they are, you know, trying to get the formula and stuff. It's a pretty good movie, honestly. Like, we kind of see where, like, Leech Woman comes from, where Blade comes from. The introduction of Six Shooter, which is really cool, honestly. It's actually... Whenever I think of like the best Full Moon movies, now keep in mind Empire had its own share of movies, but Full Moon had their own, you know, movies. Granted, Empire movies, there's a lot of great ones, but Full Moon, you know, there's a lot of not so good ones, and, you know, a lot of good for Full Moon. You know, you hear people say that a lot. Like, oh, that movie's good for Full Moon. But I think Puppet Master 3 is actually like a good movie. It's not great. It's great for Full Moon, but it's a good movie in general. And it's definitely the best in the Puppet Master series besides the newest one that wasn't done by Full Moon, The Littlest Reich. I think that it kicks ass. Richard Lynch is in there. You also have, is it Guy Rolfe who plays Andre Toulon? Can't even remember. But Six Shooter's awesome. I used to think he was overrated, but he really is cool. So yeah, I gave that like a 7.5 out of 10.
Cool.
Pretty good 91 film. And then I watched Speed from 1994, which I'm just going to say I really was surprised at how well it held up, because I haven't seen it in quite a while. And I think that like it's one of like the last films of its kind in terms of like these action practical effects films. You figure 94, they're getting into the CGI territory around there. And that's unfortunate because this was a really cool movie. Sandra Bullock is a hottie in this one as well. Dennis Hopper is crazy, and Keanu Reeves is cool. So yeah, looking forward to talking about that next week. And then I watched a film for Patreon from 22 Shots, and it's Red, White, and Blue. And this is a film that follows a girl who the film opens up, and and by the way, this was pretty cool. This was actually, I wrote a big thing about this. So this was my 2000th unique film, meaning since I've been keeping track in 2011, I only kept track of horror films from 2011 till about 2016 or something. Then I started counting everything that I watched, but I've watched 2,000 individual films, meaning 2,000 different films, since 2011, since I've been keeping track, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
When, I started in 2011, I watched like 65 movies in a year, which is like hilarious to think about now,
Yeah, that's like that's impossible for me to do, I feel like.
To watch 65 movies?
Watch like that low of movies.
Yeah. So Red, White, and Blue opens up with this girl. She's having sex with all these different guys, and you're like, what the hell's going on here? She's like picking up different guys every night, and she has sex with like multiple guys. And then you're like, whoa, like, okay, weird opening. And she has sex with this one black dude, and he like tries to either like cuddle with her, like watch TV or something. And she's like, nope. She's like, I only have sex with a guy. I never stay after having sex, and I never have sex with the same guy more than once. And you're like, okay, if you're gonna be like that, then. And then you find out she got kicked out of her place. You learn a little bit about her, and then it flashes forward to one of the guys she hooked up with at the beginning of the movie, where his mom has cancer. He's in a band. His band's taken off. His mom's cured of cancer. She's in remission. So very good. Then the movie just decides to punch you in the stomach, punch you in the balls, and kick you in the throat. Like, boom, 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 and you're just like, wow, this is like messed up. And it's pretty messed up movie. I don't really want to spoil it. It's a great movie. Great movie from the 2010s. Definitely, I always thought 2010 was a great year. And this one actually, is such a good movie that it even makes me think 2010 is even a better year. I give it a 9 out of 10. I love how dark and just messed up it gets. Like everything everything on there is sort of like dark.
Yes.
And then I watched as part of my run through 91, the 26th film The Haunted, 1991. It's a TV movie set in 1991. This family moves into a haunted house. It's sort of a little standard haunted house film, but there's some great scenes in it. You got there's a scene. It's like a slow. I love these slow burns. Like, I don't know. This is the film. I was watching it and I was thinking to myself, like, you know what? I've always said I'm not the biggest fan of haunted house films, but I am. I like haunted house films. They actually work for me quite well. And it was the film that kind of made me realize that I do like haunted house films. And something about like the ones set in the 90s or 80s or 70s just are so cool. You know what I mean? Where it just feels like a normal American family. And they're, all these things are happening. Like the mother-in-law thinks she hears the wife like using all this profanity and is all mad at her and stuff, but it wasn't the wife. And then the wife is hearing like this sound of like, the sound that you make when you're taking a bath, like where you're just like, the water's moving around and stuff.
Splishy splashies.
Yeah, splishy splashies. And, she goes upstairs and there's nobody in there and stuff. And it's a really cool movie. I definitely think it's one of the funner little gems of 91, which is one of the cool reasons about doing these top 10 shows is you you get to watch all these movies. Like, I don't know when that would have ever popped up on my list, because as far as I know, it's not on disc. If it is, it's probably out of print, and watched it on YouTube. I give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Like I said, I caught that one on TV when I was a kid, and I thought it was scary as all heck, and then I completely had no idea what it was for years, and then now here we are. So
Cool.
'Tis a good one.
And then I watched There's Nothing Out There 1991 as part of my run through 91.
You don't have to say that every time.
27th watch, and it is a meta horror film. It's an early meta horror film. It's a trauma release, and it follows a group of teenagers who go out to a lake house, and there's like a monster attacking, out there.
Oh.
And the like lead dude is aware of horror movies, and he's like, wait a minute, that guy told us not to go up here. That's like a clear sign that we're gonna die. And like, oh, you're gonna go outside, like that's a clear sign you're gonna die. And like, he's just like really annoying about it because he's like this big horror buff, and he thinks that like they're basically in a horror movie, and then people start dying. It's pretty meta. It's pretty fun. It's goofy as all hell, but it's a good movie. I've always liked it. And I got that nice Vin Sin courtesy of my buddy. She bought it for me for my birthday or Christmas or something.
That's me.
Yeah, and the transfer is amazing, as usual from Vinegar Syndrome. It's a fun pre-Scream meta film. Not as good as Scream or Behind the Mask or any of those, but it has its place. I gave it a 7 out of 10. And then we went to the drive-in. I guess we could do those together at the end.
Yeah.
But I watched the Goonies 1985 and Beetlejuice. We did a double feature. I'll talk more about those whenever you get to them on your list. We could do them at the end.
Yeah.
And then I watched Crawlers from 1993, aka Contamination Point 7, aka Troll 3, as part of my run through 91.
Why?
Well, okay, so I have the Blu-ray and it says 91 on the back. And then, but on IMDb it's classified as 93, so I kind of made a mistake. But then I was looking into it, and based on how IMDb typically categorizes movies, it would be 1991, because this film was shown in 1991 on tape in Italy. So I don't understand why IMDb isn't following its own rules. So I'm going to count it as a watch. It's a film that probably wouldn't make my top 10 anyway, but I will count it as a watch, even though it's technically 1993 according to IMDb, even though technically according to IMDb it should be 91. I don't understand. It's the first time I've seen that happen. The film Contamination Point 7 is how I know it now, but when I was a kid I knew it as, I guess it was probably Crawlers, because that was sort of the US release originally. But it's funny, I had a VHS tape when I was a kid. You know those VHS tapes that like people record, like, you know, like pirate basically, where they'll like record movies, like 3 movies on one tape or something like that.
Yes.
It's like a mixture of movies usually. I had a bunch of those as I was a kid. When I was a kid, I had the one with like Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man and like Full Metal Jacket, and then I had one with like, you know, Land Before Time and Five Wolves Goes West, which actually makes sense. It's a good double feature. An American Tale, that is. And I had one that had, you know, it was weird. It had Elm Street 2, Friday 5, and like The Fly 2 or something. It's like a weird one. But another one I had was Jason Goes to Hell and Crawlers. But it was Jason Goes to Hell, and then it started, but it was Crawlers, but it was like 10 minutes into the movie or like 5 minutes into the movie. It was past the title screen, so I never knew what it was, and it wasn't written on the thing. It was just written as Jason Goes to Hell. But I watched both of those movies so many times, and I just didn't know what it was. I just knew it was a Killer Root movie. And then years later, like, I figured out what it was, watched it on YouTube, and then a few years after that, Scream Factory put it out on disc, on DVD, and then a few years after that, it was put on Blu-ray, and I own the Blu-ray, which is such a weird movie to own on Blu-ray. But yeah, it's a killer root movie, like literally. It's oddly like great in a not intentional way, and I kind of like it, but it's not really a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. After that, I watched Hellbound Hellraiser 2 as part of the last drive-in, the season final. A, the first movie. There's B would be the second movie, which was Hell Comes to Frogtown, which I didn't watch yet. But Hellbound Hellraiser 2 is, first of all, a great movie. I really have came around on the first two Hellraiser movies. I actually love them. They are fantastic. And I recently watched Hellraiser 1 this year just for fun. And so it was nice to watch Hellraiser 2. Man, I just love the world that Clive Barker created. And I don't think Clive Barker didn't direct Hellraiser 2, but it feels like he did. It feels like the exact same movie as the first one. It's very weird. The world feels exactly the same. It probably helps that it takes place right after the first one, but at the same time, it's just feels like the same damn movie. Some people think it's better. I think that it's up there. It's definitely up there. One of my favorite scenes is the scene where Dr. Chenard drags the mental patient to his house on Julia's blood-stained mattress with the chains on it. And we're seeing the perspective of the mental patient where he sees all these maggots and bugs crawling all over his flesh. And Chenard, the bastard, gives him a razor and he just starts hacking at his body. It's disgusting. It has always been burned into my memory since I saw it when I was like 5. And it is just graphic. These Hellraiser 1 and 2 are like hardcore horror movies, but not like, they're still classy in a way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like they have this edge to them that like not a lot of horror had, that wasn't pure exploitation and like wasn't really like these are classy. It's very interesting. I never really realized it before, but it's cool. Do you like Hellraiser?
I mean, yeah. I'm not like a crazy super fan of it, but I like it.
Need to watch them a few more times because they are beautiful films.
I've probably only seen them like twice, so yeah.
And they had Joe Bob. First of all, he had a great opening monologue about physical media and why it needs to stay, and why it's such an important part. Because once everything's controlled by like the cloud and stuff, then these companies will control how we consume it and control what we consume, and it's bad because they could censor it. And then he brought on Kirsty, aka Ashley Lawrence, and she was so great. Loved her. Loved her. She was awesome. She was very into it, and she seemed very intelligent. Like she had thought about the character in the movies a bunch and had a lot of insight, a lot of great insight. She was just an absolute angel of a person on there. She's like very pretty too. I think she's probably in her 50s now or something.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think she looks better than she did in Hellraiser. I never had like a huge crush on Kirsty as a kid or anything, but
yeah.
Kirsty now, Ashley Lawrence now, very attractive. And then Doug Bradley, also very attractive, at his old age, came on, and he was really cool too, man. He was very intelligent sounding. Like all three of them were really digging deep into like the themes and meanings of the Hellraiser films, and I was really fascinated by it. Good stuff, man. I would love to see Doug Bradley put on the leather and latex one more time and give it a go. He was so great as Pinhead, just so great. I know they're redoing it up here coming soon, so I don't know if they'll get Doug Bradley, but it would be pretty cool, man. So that's Hellraiser 2. Loved it. 9 out of 10. And then I watched Hiruko the Gobin as part of my run through 91.
Hiruko the Dix.
And this one's weird. It's about this archaeologist who's like digging up this stuff, and it unleashes like this force, and like then the kid of the archaeologist like seems to get involved, and there's like faces growing on his back, and then there's like a spider. His like this chick that he likes is like her decapitated, and her head turns into a spider. It's a very weird movie. I'm not sure I completely got it, but the effects were cool, and it was like weirdo. I kind of like that weirdo thing where you're kind of just like, what the hell is going on? And it makes sense because it's from the director Shinya Sakamoto, who directed Tetsuo the Iron Man, which is also a really fun movie and weird. I gave it a 7 out of 10. It was pretty cool. A little bit of a gem from 91. And then I watched, as part of my run through 91...
You don't have to say it every time.
Ernest Scared Stupid. This was my 30th watch, so I'm doing pretty well. How many are you at?
I think almost 30.
It doesn't matter how many you're at.
I'm at 27. So, suck it. Oh.
So yeah, Ernest Scared Stupid. We got this as a Patreon watch for our Halloween. I don't even think it was a Patreon watch. It was just for our Halloween vote at last year's Viewer's Choice. Was it last year?
I think it was 2 years ago. Yeah.
And we got it, and I think I was just bummed that we got Ernest for, a horror show, and I liked it, but I wasn't as high on it. Watching it now, like that removed, I remembered what I loved so much about, Jim Varney and the Ernest character, because I did grow up watching Ernest. Like, I don't think I've seen them all. I was looking at the list. There's like 10 of them. But I definitely seen Ernest in Africa, Ernest in the Army, Ernest Goes to Jail, Ernest Saves Christmas. I've seen most of the bigger ones. I don't think I've seen Slam Dunk Ernest. There's a few that I hadn't seen. But man, like this one is so great. Like the effects are so good. There's actually some nice little jump scares in there that work and are kind of frightening. This is like perfect gateway horror for kids, man. And it's actually like, it's I'm in the camp where I think you could show kids pretty much anything and they'll be okay. But like for the people who are more sensitive with that, this one might be a little too intense for, a kids film. It's actually pretty scary at times. But yeah, man, super fun. Loved it. 7 out of 10.
Cool.
Oh, and then, did I watch anything else? I feel like I might have watched something else, but I forget.
I don't think you did.
Okay, I did watch a TV. I watched some TV. I binge watched the entire 6th season of Alone.
Alone?
Yeah.
What the heck is that?
It's a reality TV show. I've watched at least the first 4 seasons, I think. I think I might have missed the 5th season. But I just seen it pop up on Netflix, so I decided to binge it. I watched I watched all 11 episodes, which are like 45 minutes each, in 2 days. I finished last night at around like 4 a.m.
Interesting. And you like it?
Oh, I love shows like this. So it follows 10 people who are dropped off in the wilderness, and they're spread apart. They're not like near each other or anything, and they have to survive. And this particular season, they are surviving in the Arctic, I believe, way up in Canada. And it's and what's really cool about Alone is there's no like survive for 30 days and win $500,000. It's literally last one there wins. So it could take as long as until there's not only one person left. So you're watching these people, and typically what I've watched is that when they bring like bow and arrows, they don't really do anything with them. This is one dude, the winner, by the way. Wait, should I say that?
I think you're spoiling season 6 of Alone, but
it is, but it came out last year, so I think it's okay. Skip ahead like a minute if you don't want to hear any spoilers. The dude who won the show shot a damn moose with a bow and arrow and had like meat for months because they were literally, I think the winner, he was there for like 79 days or something.
Holy F.
Yeah, 79 days in like free. It was like below zero some days. It was crazy. Like some people would go like a week and a half without eating at all. And like this was probably one of like the best casts, because usually like people give up pretty early, but like it was like, you know, really deep into the like at least past a month, and there was still like 6 or 7 people left there, and I was like, wow, man. And a lot of them got pulled because their bodies were like, one girl lost like 27% of her body weight in like that time, and they had to pull her. Like a lot of them got pulled for just not being able to sustain their body weights, and you know, and they have a limit to where they can participate with, like, without having, you know, situations where their organs start failing and stuff, so they pull them from the game. But it's a really cool show, man. I really dig shows like that. I've very much, and what's cool is like it's all filmed by the contestants for the most part, besides like some drones and helicopter shots. So you know, it's not, you always wonder with like, oh, there's camera people there, they're like giving them like Nutri-Grain bars off camera and stuff. But usually when it's like they're filming it themselves, it really does feel isolated. So sort of Survivor Man-esque. But yeah, that's what I watched, everything that I watched. And yeah, your turn.
All right. By the way, screw that. I like to eat, and I'm not going to lose all my body weight and have to eat moose. I would never be on a show like that.
You wouldn't want to eat moose?
I'm not gonna murder. I mean,
moose steaks.
Oh, I just don't want to hurt a moose.
You know what, dude? I'm not gonna lie. There were a few animal kills in there that really made me feel sad, and one of them was the moose. It was horrible. Like, he shot this moose, and it took like 10 hours for it to die. He just had to wait there while it like was laying in the pasture, like bleeding from its lungs.
Why didn't he shoot it again?
Because it was dangerous for him to walk up on it, because a moose could kill you pretty easy. So he had to basically hide in the woods and just wait for it to die. It was so sad, man. Like, I never used to be like that, man. I used to watch like nature shows on like Discovery Channel like all the time, of like gators eating like, you know, antelopes and stuff, and I just thought it was so cool. And like the blood and the, you know, guts and stuff never bothered me. It's like horrible now. I can't watch that stuff. Ever since I got a damn dog, it like ruined my, like, it made me like weak to animals dying, like any of them. Like, this dude shoots a squirrel, and it was so sad. He shoots a squirrel with a bow and arrow, and it's like chirping and stuff, and it's like, and like, it was so sad. And then he cried later about it. Oh. And I felt his cries, because I felt the same way.
Yes.
I understand why people go vegetarian a little bit, because it is very sad. Like, I hate that animals die, but I love meat, so it's like, fuck that.
Yeah, I can't figure out how to be a vegetarian. Like, I just can't do it. I don't think there's enough food. I don't believe them. But anyway, so what I have watched, I guess I watched a good amount of things. First up, I watched The Big Lebowski from 1998, aka The Big Lebowski. I watched this for Celluloid Dissections podcast that I do with Derek, of course, so you can check out our full in-depth review there. But you know, it is a comedy crime film, and it was weird because I watched it and then I was like, yeah, that was all right. And then the more I thought about it, the more I was like laughing about it and enjoying the story afterwards. It was very weird. I've never really had that happen with a comedy where I think about the funnies afterwards and they're funnier for some reason. But so I enjoyed it, I'll say that. Then after that, I watched Silent Night. Oh, sorry. As part of my run through 91, I watched Silent Night, Deadly Night 5 from 1991. And this kind of a second time watch. I liked it. I don't think I paid any attention to this when I first watched it. I have it on VHS, but it's on Tubi, so that's where I watched it because I didn't feel like watching the crappy VHS quality. And I was surprised how much I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was a lot of fun and fun little movie. I thought it was going to be stupid, but I really liked it. Obviously, it has nothing to do with the original Silent Night, Deadly Night. It's pretty much its own little Christmas horror movie in itself. And I like it, kind of a ridiculous concept with you have like toys kind of being booby trapped in a way, or if that's what you want to like rigged up to essentially attack people. Kind of ridiculous, but I had a lot of fun with it. It could possibly even make my top 10, but who knows? Who knows with 91. Then after that, as part of my run through 91, I watched Ernest Scared Stupid. JP obviously watched that as well, but yeah, this is the first time watch for me. I did not grow up with the Ernest films at all. I didn't even know what they were. And I'm surprised, like a lot of people apparently grew up with these movies, but I had never even heard of them. So I guess shame on my parents for not showing them to me. But
yeah, they were kind of a staple of the 90s. I mean, some of them came out in the 80s, but
yeah,
like on video in the 90s, they were very popular. Especially, and it was funny because like Dave even said, like, man, these movies just wouldn't be realistic today. Like nobody would let all their kids hang out with like a 45-year-old like mentally handicapped person
yeah,
alone every day.
yeah. But yeah, I thought this was gonna be like super stupid, which I mean, it kind of, the Ernest, the whole shtick with him is a little goofy, but I thought it was
totally goofy.
Yeah, it's very goofy. Just his voice and everything, the way he acts, everything about it's pretty goofy, but that's not all you're focused on. You're focused on the story as well, kind of like, a little troll type of scary kids horror movie. And I did enjoy it. I thought it was a fun time. It reminded me of like elongated Goosebumps episode pretty much. So I liked it. I agree with you. I think it's good as a kids horror movie. This is something that would be fun to show kids, especially around Halloween. If
I ever have kids, I'm showing them Hellraiser at 5. I don't care.
Oh yeah. When I have kids, or if I ever have kids, I'm showing them Friday the 13th, Halloween, like all those slashers. That's what I was shown at that age. So I don't see why it's an issue, but yes. I don't know. Hellraiser might be a little much though, buddy.
It is pretty hard. Even when I was a kid, I remember being like, I don't think I should be watching this.
Yeah, I don't think I was that was one I wasn't like shown as a kid or allowed to really watch. So no, we're not.
Yeah, there's a lot of like, especially the first one. There's so much like nudity and sex and stuff in it. But yeah, I remember watching it with like Shannon, my cousin, and just being like, man, I don't think we should be watching this.
Yeah, but I would definitely show my kids 80s slashers because I really don't. Besides boobies and whatnot, I don't think they're that bad. Anyway, as part of my run through for 91, I also watched The Addams Family.
Run through 91.
My run through 91. As part of my run through 91. I'll do what I want. Anyway, The Addams Family. I just recently picked this up on VHS and I didn't realize it was a 91 movie. Obviously, it's not really a horror movie, but Addams Family, how's the song go? They're all together, kooky, the Addams Family. Da-da-da-da.
Yeah, it's the best.
They're creepy,
Addams Family is so much better than the Munsters.
They're all together, kooky. No, I don't agree with that. I loved the Munsters growing up. Thought they were funnier, and I just like the whole, I don't know, the whole thing with the Munsters a little bit more, where the Addams Family's just kind of weird. I just love the Munsters with how they had that niece who was beautiful and they all thought she was weird and hideous, and that whole, I like the whole gimmick, I guess. But Addams Family was okay. I watched that as well. The Addams Family movies, there's this one in Addams Family Values, and I believe there's actually even another one that came out in the later 90s that it had a different cast. I'd only seen this movie
before. I don't think so. I think it's just the 2, right?
No, I'm correct because I looked it up the other day. It came out in 98. I think might be a Christmas special or something stupid like that, but it didn't have a it starred I think Tim Curry. I want to say Tim Curry, but I think that's wrong. It starred like someone kind of popular as playing the dad, but either way, I've never seen it. This sure? One though, what?
Are you sure?
Yes, Google it.
It was a movie?
Yes, The Addams Family from 1998. And the only people who reprised the roles, it said, was the person who played the hand and the person who played Lurch. So the rest of the family was completely recasted. Are you acting like you can't find it? I swear to God.
I'm looking for it.
All right. Okay, I will talk about this real quick. Yeah, the first movie, this is of course the one
Feature
where
films.
Fester comes back to the family.
Oh
He's
yeah,
been
Addams Family reunion.
okay, yeah.
I forgot about that one.
I've never seen. I didn't even know it existed. I was just curious the other night, seeing if there was other Addams Family movies since that animated one, of course, came out, and then, you have these two. But yeah, so this one, Fester comes back. He's been living in the Bermuda Triangle, and he returns to the family. They're all excited for his return, but then they start feeling like he might not be the Fester that they know and love, because he's kind of just seems put off by how they're acting, and they're thinking like, wow, the Bermuda Triangle must have really changed you, and then they're just getting suspicious, and you find out some stuff. So yeah, this movie's all right. I think it's pretty good as an Addams Family, I guess, adaptation or whatever you want to movie based on the TV series. I think it's pretty good. I have always enjoyed the second one better, where they go to the summer camp, Addams Family Values, but this one's all right. I just don't enjoy the story as much. It had some decently funny parts. There's like a part where the mom goes to the school and the teacher says she's concerned about Wednesday because she brought in this picture of her great-great-grandmother being burned at the stake back in like the 1700s, and the mom's just like, oh, that was her great-great-aunt, whatever, she was so fond of her. And it's just that type of humor where this family's all screwed up. I enjoy that, but it's a decent film. After that, as per my run-through of 91, I checked out Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, or I guess it's also called Whatever Happened to, which that might explain why I couldn't find it on Letterboxd, because I was typing in Baby Jane, or Whatever Happened to Baby Jane fully. Yeah, this, of course, is a remake of a movie I've never seen before, so I can't really compare it to the original, but I know JP enjoyed it, and then people were kind of like, the original is way better, which made me want to check out the original, because I enjoyed this movie too. Of course, this is about basically this elderly, bedbound woman. She's, older, in a wheelchair, and kind of dependent on her younger sister to take care of her. She was famous back in the day, and her sister kind of was too, but now they're old and forgettable, especially the sister, and the sister's just has a lot of jealousy, so she essentially abuses the other sister. I think Blanche is the name of the older sister. I liked it. I thought it was interesting, very interesting film. Actually made me kind of sad too sometimes. I felt bad for the older woman, because I just feel bad seeing an elderly lady get treated bad and all that, but I thought it was a very interesting plot, so I really dug that one. So besides Beetlejuice and the Goonies, that is it for what I've watched, as per my run through 91.
That's it?
Yes, that is it. Besides Beetlejuice and the Goonies.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we saw the Goonies and Beetlejuice at the drive-in as part of a double feature, which was pretty cool. The Goonies is my favorite movie of all time. I know it pretty well, know a lot of the lines.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's just like it's like just an amazing adventure. Like, it almost makes me want to damn cry how awesome, like how much, like it makes me feel like a kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like watching it, I'm just like, dude, this was like, it's like childhood imagination put on screen. Like, you wish that something like that would happen to you all the time. And it's fun, and the characters are great. You have the Fratellis, which are awesome. Sloth. It's so creative. It's such a unique movie. And it's magical. The score is magical. The One-Eyed Willie and the pirate ship is magical. It's all magic. It's just magic put on screen. It's like just doused in magic.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I feel like you're not giving it enough credit.
I'm just indifferent on the Goonies. I've given it multiple goes, obviously, and I think it's good. I do see what you mean. I didn't grow up on it, though, and I feel that's a problem with a lot of people who didn't grow up with it. They kind of have the same thing where they're not as nostalgic for it. But my mom also doesn't really care for the Goonies. And
remember that hot mom that was like when we went and seen it at the movie theater?
Oh yeah.
It was like I was like, no, trust me, this is the best movie ever. And you're like blah 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 blah. And then she's like, no, listen to him. It's the greatest movie ever. And I was like, yeah.
That's happened a few times. Oh, that happened again. A similar thing happened when we went to see The Lodge and it got canceled and we had to see Parasite. I said something about Parasite and the guy's like, oh, it's subtitled, yeah, but like you're gonna love it. Like reminiscent where I just got owned. Like,
yeah, he was like, this is my
stranger.
fourth time seeing it.
Yeah, and that just kind of reminds me of the Goonies incident because I feel like anytime I open my mouth, a stranger has to interject and come at me sideways.
Well, strangers respect me and they like me. They,
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, no, but the Goonies, I mean, it's a good movie. It is. I just don't connect with it as well as other people.
It's just nonsense.
Like, I went on plenty adventures in my youth, but I never really related to this adventure because I didn't want to go run into the Fratellis and almost get killed and experience a dead body in a freezer and have... I just didn't. Like, I wanted to go on... I did plenty... Like, believe me and my friends had good imagination. And, dude, I had probably a much better childhood than you. So. Dude, we literally made a fort in my yard out of sticks. And we put, like, an old couch, which probably had, like, was infested with bugs. It's, like, gross that our parents let us do that. We put, like, a couch in it and, like, a table. And it was going to be our fort. And we were going to live there forever. So, I adventured. Mm-hmm. And we rode bikes.
Yeah, man, I just love this movie to death. Like, it is so good. It's a 10 out of 10. It's perfect. I would not change anything about it. Just love it so much. And then we watched Beetlejuice. Oh, and by the way, seeing the Goonies on the big screen at the drive-in was pretty cool. Like, I have never seen it at the drive-in. I saw it in the theater once a couple years ago. Me and you went and seen it. It was really cool, but like the drive-in's kind of a different experience. It was nice. I did enjoy that. And then moving on to a film that none of us have, me or you, have never seen in the theater or drive-in. So we did, we ended up getting a second or third. Like, we haven't done many retro films this year. It's been our worst year for sure because of the COVID. But it was nice getting one that we hadn't seen before, which is Beetlejuice. And Beetlejuice is such a cool film, man. It's like super unique. Tim Burton in his prime. It just is a movie that oozes uniqueness and creativity and all this interesting stuff about death that I didn't appreciate when I was a kid. I just liked Beetlejuice and like, the goofy stuff in the movie. But in reality, it's got like this cool little thing about death in it, this creative sort of afterlife that is unique to this movie, and the concept of death in this movie is really cool and thought-provoking. And of course you got Winona Ryder as like a massive inspiration for all the 90s goth girls that came after. It's funny because I was talking to Robin about this and she was like, I loved Winona Ryder in that movie. Like, I swear I wanted to be like her. Which is fun, because I told you that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was a first-time watch for me, actually. This is one of those movies that I just put off for a long time because I thought the title was stupid. I always thought the cover was stupid. I was like, okay, who's this weird guy? I never even paid attention to the full poster art where you have like the other characters in there and he's sitting on a house. In my mind, I just picture Michael Keaton like dressed up all funky like that. So I had no idea what this film was about, honestly. I just assumed it's about Michael Keaton and the whole movie is going to be him running around doing weird stuff. But I was really surprised by this. I enjoyed it quite a bit. It does obviously have a plot to it. Like, I had no idea it was going to be about death and about mainly that couple. And then, it's kind of supposed to be a haunted house type of ordeal that isn't going too well. The whole concept is really unique. It reminds me of like a Dr. Seuss type of look, the whole movie. It just reminds me of something you would see in The Grinch or something, with the house and the world that they kind of create. And I enjoyed it. There was a little bit cringe, I'm not going to lie, but it's okay. I liked it. I would watch it again. I gave it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I gave it a 9 out of 10 too. It's one that's definitely grown on me a lot over the years. Like, I've always liked it. As a kid, I had it on VHS, and I would watch it every once in a while. But over the years, like, I've really appreciated more stuff about it too. So yeah. All right, that's all of what we watched. Let's get into the featured review here, which is Tape 2020, which is what I would describe as more of a drama than anything.
Yeah, drama, thriller, kinda, definitely more drama. But yeah, Tape. This movie, it says, based on true events and set in New York City. Tape is the story of an aspiring actress who crosses paths with the darker side of the entertainment industry. So, and I looked it up because I was like, okay, based on true events, is it actual events? And then it turns out that one of the actresses in this movie, this whole story is based off of actually her. So I thought that was really interesting.
I was wondering that. I tried to look it up a little bit, but I gave up because I was like mostly finding reviews. So the story is based on the which actress? The one that plays the one that's trying to stop it?
Yes, that one. Yeah, her name is Anna Rosa Mudd. And I typed in like Tape true events, and then an article came up, and then I typed in her name specifically, and it said that she worked, because I think she might be a producer, I don't know, or maybe she's just an actress in this, but she like helped the director with, like, pretty much gave the whole story to the director, and then the director like made a movie out of it. So that's a pretty interesting thing.
Wait, which one is she? Anna Rosa? Is she the short-haired girl?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So the director of this film, from what I understand, has made a couple of, like, it's a female. She made a couple of Me Too-esque movies, I think, from what I've read online. I haven't seen anything she's done. This is not a horror film. The subject matter is, like, horrifying, I guess. It's a very interesting movie, though. I actually probably like this more than you.
I don't know, dude. This was a really difficult one for me. It was, and even right now, I'm thinking, did I like that or did I not like that? Because there's stuff that I really enjoyed about it, and then there's stuff that was like a little cringe for me, and also a little bit slow for me. So this was really hard.
First of all, it's the instructional integrity of this film is being slow. Like, it is literally what the film is about. It's showing you exactly how it happens, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't want to like cut away. Like, it's a long process. It took all day. Like, the whole scene, okay, so it follows this girl who wants to be an actress, and she auditions for stuff. It doesn't work out. The producer basically says, hey, like you could be my protege, like I'll really help you. These are all, like, later in the film she tells her mom like all this stuff that he's worked on, and it could be like a huge break for her and stuff. Meanwhile, you have this other girl who's essentially trying to she knows that this guy's up to no good, and as we find out more about her, we know that she's like involved somehow. And you get the sense that, based on the plot and the description and what you're seeing, is this guy probably, uses his power to, have sex with girls, young actresses, and promise them bright futures and stuff like that. And it kind of chronicles her. She puts up hidden cams in his studio, and like she's like watching it and recording it and stuff like that. And then it has the lead actress, who is actually the girl who played the little girl in Orphan. Looks strikingly the same.
Yeah, it's kind of creepy. I looked it up. She's actually the same age as me, which I thought she was, but
yeah, those damn freckles. It's the freckles.
Yeah, and the hair. Like, her hair never, like, Her
Yeah.
whole face just never changed. It makes it very weird to watch because you picture her as being like 12 years old. But
I think she's fantastic in this movie. She
mhm.
delivers a very good performance. What I think is so interesting about this movie, what really sold it for me, is that it is like the step by step exact way that this stuff happens. You know what I mean? It shows you an example, one of many examples of how this can happen to somebody, and it's very believable. It comes off like this is what these situations happen. This is how they happen. It doesn't give you the cliff notes of the situation. It shows you step by step the entire process of this guy grooming this girl for his, you know, whatever he's gonna do to her. Like, you know, the sex is one thing, but there's kind of another thing brought up in the movie that's like, you know, I don't want to spoil it, but there's ulterior motives to what he's doing besides just the sex. And I think that it was like kind of brilliant in a way, the way that it tells that story and lets it unfold naturally and slowly. But at the same time, like, I don't know if it was a little weird for me, because at the same time they make it such a point, like they make such a point to say that she's willingly doing it on her own, in which I'm kind of like, okay, yeah, this guy shouldn't have used his like alleged power to sleep with this girl, but at the same time, like, she really just like, she had every opportunity to say no and she really didn't. So at that point, it kind of, I'm like, he took advantage of you, yes, but like there's no rape or anything there for sure.
Yeah, it's not definitely not a rape situation, but it's just a coercing thing, which the whole thing with it going slow is done well. Like I said, I thought it got a little bit too tedious to watch at times, but I understand why it's done, because that whole scene, he's just kind of trying so hard to be like, hey, you know, this is all you. You can leave and go back to your normal life, or we can do this and then we're good. And, you know, you'll be my partner. And he's being all innocent, and he's like giving her control of the situation, basically, or at least making her feel like she has the control. And I think he's just he's so manipulative in his ways and that is kind of like, I don't know, that is like the gross thing about it, is he manipulated her so bad to the point where she was okay with it. And it's definitely not rape, but it just shows how a man
I don't even, but that's where it comes, like, I don't know what that is. Like, when I was growing up, that was just somebody making poor life decisions. Like, is that illegal? I don't even know.
That's not I mean, no, I don't. Yeah, it's a screwed up thing. It's just, like, I still consider. I don't think it could be considered a crime, honestly.
Like, I know that as like I think it's a little bit different when it's like at your job. Like, if you use your power at your job to, you know, coerce women into having sex with you, like, I think there's probably some kind of law against that. But when it's like these independent contractors and stuff like that, I don't know if that's elite, like, if there's any sort of laws against that. Like, I mean, you hear it all the time that, like, you know, she slept her way to the top and stuff like that. But, like, although it's like, I frown upon it and I think it's wrong, I'm not necessarily, and I think the guy's probably like not the best person to do that, probably a pretty bad guy. But I don't like I don't know if I would say that he shouldn't be able to do that or not. Like, I don't know. Like, she, like, in this movie, she clearly knows what she's doing. She knows that she's sleeping with this guy for a chance at success, and she processed it through the pros and cons, and she decides to do it. So, like, for me, I don't know how I feel about that stuff. You know what I mean? I don't think you should do it. I think that it's wrong. It's like messed up and wrong that this guy has power over, or alleged power over somebody. But at the same time, I still think it's her decision in this film, and it's her wrong decision, and I'm not, blaming her for doing it. Like, I honestly, like, I would maybe consider doing it, if it was gonna change my entire life. Is it, is it gross? Yeah, sure, but like, I don't know if it's necessarily, it's still her decision, you know what I mean? It's like not this forceful thing.
Yeah, it's
By the way, I'm saying, like, in her situation, like, I would consider it as well. Like, I'm not blaming her. Like, if this guy changes her entire life, like he's saying he's going to, and it's weird that it's how she even rationalizes it, like, where she's like, I've had sex with worse people. Why am I making a big deal out of this?
Do you think she actually knew what she was doing, where she was thinking this guy's just a scumbag, or do you think she was actually convinced that he was only doing this to break her in? Yeah, well, not for this, just to like be like, because he's like, oh, young girls your age, they pretty much have to get naked and have sex on camera now. That's how you make it in Hollywood. Do you think she like actually believed that and was like, oh, that's true?
If she did, I think that it was really stupid. I think that, like, she was it was one of those situations where, like, deep down she probably knew that it wasn't true that people actually have sex on camera. But I think that she was, like, kind of just, like, wanting to side with whatever he was saying to make it easier on her own conscience. But I think that, like, there was a little bit of both in that. Maybe she was, like, kind of, like, deep in the back of her head, she was like, well, maybe it is true. Like, nah, I don't know, but I think deep down she knew that it wasn't. It's this whole thing, it's like kind of plays out weird in a way, because I really don't know, man. I don't know. Is it, I know that it's wrong. That's from one. But I mean, there's girls out there who will do this and never, it won't bother them ever. You know what I mean? Where they're happy they got to the top, and didn't regret making that decision at all. So it's very weird. Should it exist? Absolutely not. Like, there shouldn't be this sort of sexual, like, favor, you scratch my back by giving me a blowjob and I'll get you a role in the movie. Like, that shouldn't exist. But I'm not, like, there's a lot of things that shouldn't exist that I still don't think are illegal. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a very weird situation, man. I don't even feel that comfortable talking about it, because people could easily twist what you say and be like, this guy supports this. I'm like, no, you'll be the
next fake news article people are sharing around.
Yeah.
But no, dude, honestly though, even as a woman, I pretty much agree with you. I mean, what about, we don't want to get into spoilers, but the outcome, the ulterior motive that you find out at the very end, do you think is that illegal? Or did she?
Yeah, that's illegal.
Allow that to happen by, like?
I think that's illegal. I mean, I think that I think because she didn't know, it makes it illegal.
Yeah.
Right? But I think that he would probably win in a court case, because he had the video of her saying, like, I'm in sound mind and body. Like I'm pretty sure, like, what he's doing is illegal, but he would have a strong case to make it, whatever. But I didn't actually like that aspect of it. But if it's a true story, I can't really complain, because it's like, well, that actually happened or whatever. But I just felt like it was a bit, like, I almost feel like it was a bit, like, cheesy that's what he was really doing.
Which I don't know if that was part of the true story. I think I can't really say for sure. I didn't read too much into it. I just know this woman was, like, coerced into a lot of stuff. But I kind of did, I don't know, I kind of dug it, because it kind of made, because I agree with you where this whole thing, it's like the girl's choice, and I actually don't think that should be illegal. It makes a woman feel like crap, and sometimes it doesn't. But, like, in this girl's case, she wasn't even really embarrassed by the end. She was, like, thrilled that she was like, I made it. So I don't think any of that should be illegal. I don't think it should be a thing, because it is manipulation, and in a way kind of can become abuse after a while if it goes on for a long time. So I don't approve of it at all. But
yeah, I mean,
I think, like, when she finds out what he was doing, and just like that it's just that realization that she kind of got punked. I think that's what's really humiliating for her. So to me, it was effective for that.
Yeah, I guess for that, but I kind of almost liked it just being like, this guy's just, because you always hear about like the sleazy people that just want to have sex with girls and then are going to give them opportunities in Hollywood or New York. And I think that I almost prefer it to be a statement on just bad people. Like, and it is still that, but I mean, like, since okay, I think if he was just doing this to have sex with her, it makes him look like really bad. But making it to where money's involved and stuff, it just makes him like, it makes it more like, I don't know, like just sleazy regular bullshit that you hear about all the time. But like, I think it almost makes it more evil when it's like the Harvey Weinsteins, where he just like is a disgusting pig and wants to have sex with all these women and promise them things. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about where I guess I'm fine if it was part of the true story, but I don't know. It almost like cheapened it a little bit for me, like the message or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I didn't really have that problem. I do see what you mean, but to me it just showed that he was a loser, basically. He was not a big-time producer or whatever he was trying to make himself out to be.
It almost makes the girl look even more dumb. And I think the film's supposed to make her look like a victim, but like honestly, that just makes her look stupid.
Yeah, but it's just, I don't know, the girl, the beginning, he doesn't look like a sleazebag, and he's kind of the guy at the audition, so to me it's like, and the girl, you see many scenes of her just bawling and saying, crying to her mom and wanting to make her mom proud and make all this money. So
that's why it makes sense that she would do this. But I'm saying, like, it just makes her look dumb. That, like, I don't like that. It's just stupid to me. I don't know. I don't like it.
All right, fine.
No, like, some of those scenes were probably the best scenes in the movie for me. My favorite scene in the entire film was when she went to go change into the robe in the bathroom, and she's in the mirror, and she's like, she's fantasizing about thanking her mom in an acceptance speech for an Academy Award. And it honestly kind of broke my heart a little bit, dude, because I'm just like, wow, like, this girl just wants it so bad.
Yeah.
That she's like fantasizing about like winning like the most prestigious award, that you can win or whatever, an Oscar. And it's just sad because so many people never get to do what they really want to, and so many people do anything for it and stuff. It's just a sad situation. Hollywood, like Hollywood is just such a cutthroat, and you have to be so tough to be in that industry. And they talk about that a little bit in the film. Overall, I really liked the movie. I just think that the message was weird. Like, I didn't know how to take it. Like, okay, this guy's bad. I agree. But, like, am I supposed to think that he's, like, he's just a bad dude? Or am I supposed to think, like, he deserves to be arrested and thrown in jail? Because, like, I don't feel that way. You know what I mean? I didn't know am I just supposed to think that he's, like, not a nice guy? Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to think,
Especially, the very last scene I didn't really like, because it was just super Me Too-ish, and it was super, made him look like a straight-up rapist, which he doesn't, that's not what happens in the movie at the end of the day, so...
You gotta be careful with those Me Too people, man, because, like, they'll say, like, you'll say that, and then they'll like, twist it and be like, no, this is, like, this is a violation of rights and like all that. I'm like scared to talk to those people, dude.
I mean, no, I agree. Like, yeah, it's like these girls have been humiliated, and I'm all for like attacking the guy and shooting him in the head, cutting off his penis and stuff like that. But I'm kind of with you. What? You think this guy should be shot in the head? Kind of. Wow. No, I mean, like, if that was me, I'm saying if I was one of those girls, yes, I would be really angry, but
you would be angry, why? Because he tricked you, or because you...
Yeah, well, yeah, dude.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. That's where the problem becomes with the film, because it's like, okay, are we mad that this guy, like, do you see what I'm saying? It's like, it's okay to sleep with somebody for personal gain if they actually give you personal gain, but it's bad if they weren't going to give you personal gain. You see where that becomes conflicting?
Yeah, I understand, dude.
Like, so, if the movie's trying to say it's okay to sleep with somebody to get a big break in the film industry, but it's bad to sleep with somebody if they were lying to you about being able to give you that break. Because it almost is saying, like, it's cool if it all would have worked out for her. It's bad if it clearly didn't work out for her. You get what I'm saying?
Yes, I get what you're saying.
You see where that was my, like,
yes, it is a loop.
issue with it.
Yes, I get it now when you put it in those words. Because, if he's done this same thing to a bunch of girls and that's all he's done, then yes, it is for sure conflicting. And now I hate the movie. You just, like,
that's
ruined
not why
it.
It's conflicting that he done it to a bunch of girls.
No, dude, I'm saying, no, I agree with you. You just misunderstood what I said just now, that's all.
Okay, well.
I'm saying, like, he's just, I can't give away the end. I'm saying that's all he's in it. That's what he's doing is just that, and that's why these girls are mad, as opposed to, I'm saying what you just said.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's why they're mad. Like,
I think that...
Or are they mad that this person used their... Like, I mean, they can also be mad about that, but I'm just saying, would they still be mad? Like, would this woman
I don't think they
be
would,
going
because...
on a crusade of, getting revenge on this person if it was just for being, used and sort of manipulated? Because that seems to be a big problem in Hollywood that is part of the Me Too, is people using their power to coerce girls into having sex or, doing sexual favors and then promising them things and sometimes delivering. That seems to be a big problem that people were fighting against. So I'm sort of like, okay, what, like, is that what they're saying here too? Or are they just mad that, it's that's where I get really, like, conflicted with the movie.
Yes, I agree. I feel that. Yeah, no, I think that the end, she would be fine if that wasn't the reveal, because, she's so pumped when he's like, yeah, you did it. You did the thing. And she's like, oh, really? Yes, this is it. And then, like, everything kind of flips on her. And then it's all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm sad now. So, yes, I agree. I think that's, well, I don't think you said you weren't for sure, but I 100% think it is a screwed up thing, because she would have been happy at the end of the day if this ended just, like, right there and she got what she wanted.
Yeah, but I mean, she'd be happy at the end of the day, but would she be happy at the end of the year or the end of the decade?
I mean, if it depends on where her career went.
No, I mean, like, but like that. Often when this happens to people, they feel bad about it over time. They don't feel bad, like, and it doesn't necessarily have to do with if their career was a successful one or not. It has to do with the fact that they eventually feel cheap for doing what they did. I don't feel like this movie really tackles that aspect of it at all.
Well, yeah, because it's got a different wrap up, so you don't get to see.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying that, like, it's not. It's conflicting, is what I'm saying. But I'm saying,
I know what you're saying.
Do you though?
Yeah, I feel like it's annoying. I keep saying stuff and you keep arguing with me when I'm I'm 100% with you on the
I'm not arguing.
You're, like, coming back at me, like, with the same things that I'm saying.
No, I know that
I feel like you don't get what I'm
the
saying.
movie doesn't take place 10 years from now.
I know you know that. So I'm saying, like, what I'm saying is, had it ended, like, the freaking way that you wish you want it to end, like, to where it would have made the guy look super scummy, as you mentioned earlier, then yeah, like, you could think, like, I wonder, it could be, like, it doesn't matter if she was happy at the end or not. She could have been super over the moon about it at the end, and then the movie just end. But then you could think in your head, like, okay, this movie just displayed this, and this girl probably will feel bad. You can assume that in your head, but I'm saying this movie just ends with that whole flip-flop. So you don't, it just is a brick wall because you don't get that. It's just a completely different ending anyway.
I just don't know if it matters if they feel bad or not.
What?
Yeah, like I don't necessarily know if it matters if they like I said, some girls are gonna be like cool with it and like it won't bother them. Other girls, it's gonna be devastating and something they think about for the rest of their life. But I don't think it matters necessarily if it's. I guess it comes down to if what he's doing is how level of wrong is it. I mean, we can all agree that I think it's wrong, but is it like illegal wrong? Is it like this person needs to be jailed wrong? Or is it like just this person's a bad person wrong?
I think it's just this person is a bad person wrong unless he starts doing, worse stuff than that and like escalates it and turns it into physical abuse or just threatening abuse and stuff like that. But if he's just coercing,
none of it.
Yeah, if it's just simple manipulation to where if I was in that situation, like I would know right away what that guy's was trying to do, and I'd be like, okay. And like me personally, that stuff grosses me out, so I would probably have to say no thanks, walk away, even though I would be really sad that I thought I had an opportunity and then it turned out to be a scumbag. But
yeah, I guess it also depends on like how much you want that opportunity, right? Like if it's like you don't really want to be an actress that much, so if you had the situation happen to you, obviously it would be different. But if it's something that you wanted more than anything,
yeah, I guess, yeah, it's hard to say.
Finally, and I'll probably put a spoiler warning on this because I think we did like spoil a little bit. Also with this movie, I think that the music was really good and that it was shot fairly interesting. It had like this washed out sort of almost like lo-fi look to it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like some of that, because the whole thing where it was kind of zooming in and out of people, which is because you're trying to see it from the view of that girl with the camera on her.
I didn't really like that very much.
Oh, that's not what you're talking. That's what I was gonna say. I didn't like that at all, and I thought I was gonna be upset if the whole movie was shot like that, but it wasn't.
I'm talking about just like the regular shots, like at the beginning of the movie where they're like walking down the street and stuff, and it's like kind of this lo-fi look.
Oh yeah, like the actual shooting of the film is good, but I did not care for that whole camera thing, even though it's interesting because it's supposed to be, like I said, her point of view, almost found footage-esque, where this girl just has like crappy cameras going in and out of focus on her body, and that's how she's sort of filming the world. But the way the actual, just when you see the film itself, I think it's shot pretty well as well.
Yeah. Let me see here.
What?
Right. Okay, so we're gonna do the letterboxed reviews. So trying to find a good one and a bad one here. I always forget to pull these up. You never remind me.
I forget about them myself because you suck.
No, you suck.
Letterboxd. I even read some of the reviews the other night, and I was like, this is what my buddy shall read on the podcast. And now we don't have them.
All right. Here's a good one. All right. 4.5 out of 5. So really high. It's from IBA Belly. And IBA Belly's favorite movies are... They don't have a list of their favorite movies, but what they've watched this year... Up, Bad News Bears, Mommy, and Tape. So they say Tape is a must-see. Really takes you inside what truly happens behind closed doors and his coercion happens. It's not a Harvey issue, and it's not every perpetrator is a huge success. Some are just skilled manipulators who get by for years unknown and unscathed. This is based off a true story. Read the New York Times. Watch it. This person's punctuation is worse than mine. Watch it is unsettling and dark and true. You know what? Like, I mean, that person said that it's like more about just the manipulation and stuff like that. And I agree. I just don't know if it's illegal to manipulate somebody.
It's not.
I guess in certain cases it is, but all right, this person, Screen Queens, reviewed this one, and Screen Queens' favorite films are Revenge, Belle, Mandoline's something, The Watermelon Woman. I don't know. They don't see. I don't really know what this stuff is. Their bio: Scream Queens is a young woman in LGBTQ plus led film site. Okay, so they're LGBTQ, which anyway. So typically pretty progressive people. So I would expect them to give this a positive review, maybe, but unfortunately, they actually gave it a negative review. 1 star.
Oh.
Overall tape is uncomfortably dour. Although it deals with a serious subject, the washed out visuals, strange and distanced characterization of Rosa and lo-fi filming, which I actually liked, make for an unpleasant viewing experience. One that should have been left more authentic and gracefully handled, considering the filmmaker's own experience that the film is based on. I don't really know what their negative was, that they didn't like the way it was filmed.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it. Let's go into our ratings. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah, I had trouble figuring out what to rate this one, but upon talking about it, I find that I like this for the most part a good bit. Very sort of unique film in the way it's shot and the way the stuff is handled. Like you said, it's rather realistic. So I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
Really?
Yes.
That shocks me because I thought you liked it less than me. But turns out I like it less than you.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm coming in at a 7.5 out of 10. And although I really liked the movie and I thought that like the long process was kind of brilliant, honestly, me talking about the movie a little bit made me realize that I had a little bit more problems with it than I thought. So I dropped my original rating from an 8 down to a 7.5.
So we had the opposite effect, basically.
Yes.
Because I pretty much went up on it by talking about it, even though I did agree with your issues, but I still enjoyed it.
Right.
Yes.
All right, so I guess that is it. We will, I guess, talk to you guys next week with another episode. I hope you guys enjoyed, and peace out.
Peace.
I feel like